Welcome to another broadcast of We're All Here Together. In this series, I just sit up here and respond to anything that's coming from the crowd and or whatever's coming from above. When I tuned in before to ask what's here for me to talk about, the topic was to be blank, to come out and open, kind of have no idea what I'm going to do. So I have blank paper, and let's relax for a second. How's everybody doing? Good morning, hey. Hi. Hey. All right, let's see what's here to say. What do we want to talk about today? Levity. So, good morning. I'm going to talk about the seventh sense. So we have sight. Happy Sunday. Sight. Sound. I'm not going to be consistently using the words, but you'll get what I'm saying. So sight, sound, taste, touch. What's the fifth one? Could someone know? Then there's like the sixth sense. Taste, touch, smell. That's five. Those are the five physical senses. And then we have the sixth sense that we talk about. And the sixth sense is generally referring to sort of like your non-physical sensitivity. Touch, feel, yeah, that's good. Feel, I'm not going to do them again because I'll probably screw it up. But the seventh sense is my favorite. This is what I call the sense of humor. And it makes all the other senses bearable. So the human experience for a minute can be quite uncomfortable. And I say for a minute because I maintain that there is a place that exists where you are free of unnecessary suffering. Yes, you still experience sadness, you still experience anger, you still experience feelings because you're alive, but the perpetuation of those in a way that causes suffering or detracts unnecessarily from the moment ceases. And so, oh, that's the dog. His mom just left. I gotta go get him sense of humor. It's not supporting the cosmic giggle. Yes, the cosmic giggle is where it's at. And so, here is an event. I'll call it loss. And to a certain point, or loss, or we could call it offense or something, until you have a handle on yourself, your true self, this experience is amplified by what you think. So how you think about loss, how you think about the offense, enlarges the experience because it's touching underlying fears, thoughts, feelings, etc. And or it's just got kind of like the plus sign next to it, pro plus, because you think it should be different. For example, if you lost something or someone and you think that it shouldn't have happened, your experience of that loss is bigger than the loss itself. Whereas if you're able to accept that the loss was, rather than be resistant to it, you have a more concentrated experience, like a more grounded emotional mental experience to process. This is what I'm sort of saying when it's like it seems as though there is a place of knowing, a place of recognition of who you are, what things are, your power, life, etc., that you can get to that transforms your experience in such a way that you have simplified, or you have a simplified experience of the thing to the thing. So you're not swept up in what you think it should be or you think it shouldn't be, or you're not lost in what does this mean about me, what are other people going to think about this. Like, you don't take it beyond what it is. And then beyond that point, yes, you still feel you're still alive. I think one of the most interesting lessons I learned on this journey was that, should I go get the dog? All right, let's just go get the dog. Don't leave. Thanks for waiting. So let's not eat the crayons though. What was I saying? That I've seen you have a simplify. Oh, beyond the certain. So I think one of the most interesting lessons I've learned is like that it's okay to be mad, that it's okay to be sad, that it doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong if you're having an emotional experience to what's happening. For example, if you get mad at somebody, maybe it's legit. So to this point, remember, behind this line, there are things that influence your emotional experience that aren't true. You don't think it should have been like that, versus like it being an actual offense. So there are, over here, you still get mad beyond the point of self-knowing, but you get mad in a way that the anger can be mobilized and used. It's information about what's correct for you. Similarly, if you're sad, it's information. Humans get stuck on holding on to the point of information rather than allowing the information to wash them clean or cleaner. His name is Remington. He belongs to my neighbor, but he hangs out here with me. Don't ya? Come here. And so what was I talking about today? I started off by saying I'm a little out of practice. Levity, the seventh sense, humor. It's important because you can then, it's almost like a trap door away from your personal experience. You're not identified with it in the same way, that you get a little space to see it for what it is. And this is helpful because when you are in a strained emotional state, when you're identified with your human experience in a way that takes you away from your awareness of your inherent divinity, you don't get to use that skill. If you're all caught up in your survival, you're not thinking like, what would Jesus do? And by that I mean like, what is true, what is real, like what do I want? You're thinking survivally. You're thinking from the human vantage point, which is around like constriction. It's generally around what's not wanted. It's not. So humor gives you that kind of like break in the action, breaks the fourth wall, so you can see it a little bit more clearly, a little more removed, and that allows for you to, process it more like quickly. Forget it. Today I'm gonna have to just drop this one because now he's rolling around on the floor. I want to say, like, if you people have kids, like, God bless you. I'm so impressed by anybody who has a child, because how do you human when you're in charge of other humans? This I don't know. Like, that is so impressive to me. All right, so then I'll just sit up here and tell jokes for the rest of this. So, seventh sense of humor. How do I use it? I use it by asking, I can prompt myself by saying, like, what's funny about this? How might this be funny? Or just imagining, like, you can use your imagination to cartoonize experience and find things that make it a little bit more comical. And so I was saying, like, yeah, be mad, be sad. It's so important to be mad or sad. And then I'm saying, like, hey, be jokey because you don't have to take it so seriously. And that's really the cosmic dance, where you have it is and it isn't. It's both at the same time, and you kind of like roll through the two perspectives. If you're only in the humor and you don't feel the stuff, you'll likely come up with defense mechanisms, beliefs that prevent you from living fully. And if you're just in the feels, you likely will get stuck there and won't go forward. So you kind of have to move between the two poles so that you can get action forward. Oh, Jojo, crayons. Say hi to the people. I know, you're so cute. He loves art supplies. He ate a pastel once, most of one, and most of a crayon. Didn't you? So I'm probably not gonna do anything with this one because I appreciate everybody that came out and was patient. I wasn't able to focus the whole way, which is okay. That happens. The moral of my story today is If you're mad or sad, that's great. It doesn't mean that you're doing the spiritual path wrong. If you're often mad and you're often sad, it likely means you've got some beliefs that you're working with that aren't serving you. At a certain point, you can get past those beliefs. There is a place where life is pretty comfortable. Beyond that, you still get mad, you still get sad, but that's actual information that you can use to orient more clearly towards what you specifically want, or to create circumstances that are more comfortable for you. Being mad or sad doesn't mean you're not being spiritual. And then I also said with your sense of humor, the seventh sense, it's a helpful tool in oh god, I love when he leaps. I hope I get it on film. I'm gonna make a gif of it. Your seventh sense allows for you to alternate between the depth of your emotional experience and the truth of what is, which is like, you're fine. But again, it doesn't seem like it's helpful to sit completely outside of your emotional experience, because you're basically saying you're afraid to feel, which then pinches you off from life. And I know that because I did that, and also like if you do, it just makes sense. I always try to make light of a situation with humor. Right after my emergency surgery with my heart attack, I was cracking jokes with my sons to put them at ease. That's very thoughtful of you, Kevin. Did it put you at ease as well because they were at ease? Like, I think when we're using some of these tools, it's helpful that it's not you're a part of the equation, and maybe that was what you needed. That was part of your equation. He does love his squeaker. He's got several. All right, everybody, I'm going to roll off. I'll be back this week, most mornings, probably between 7 and 9 Central Time. Doing this series, I want to do some more embodiment work, so just kind of bringing people into their bodies. Like, and if you're there now, why don't we? Yes, because they started joking with me too. Beautiful. Yeah, it's helpful to. I forget what comedian says, but it's like you can't get out of life alive. You know, here we all are terrified of the one thing we can't escape, and all the other stuff is essentially like, I don't know. It's everything, so many things at once, and it's relative. At a functional standpoint, at a practical standpoint, what seems most useful to me is to say yes to what is, as if it was correct and leading somewhere you really wanted to go. So really kind of validating each step toward the kingdom, really feeling and believing and acting as if that was true, and then it seems as though it is. I started working with myself 2016, kind of exploring like, oh, I have pain, you know, I'm upset about some things where I had just kind of like built on top of them. And I will tell you, like, it's worth it. It's worth it to do the work. It's worth it to get those things out from under you, behind you, within you, because what remains really is an effortlessness to being. You're not stepping into a situation kind of on edge, anxiously anticipating, who do I need to be? What do I need to say? You are, period. Like, you are, period. And you take that home, that center with you everywhere you are. And knowing that you have that home, knowing that you have that center also affects any pre-worrying or anxious worrying you would do in advance, because you trust you to be there for you. And I think, again, with the spiritual path, it looks like, oh, love, light, open your heart, be the rainbow. Well, sometimes the rainbow says, fuck off. Sometimes the rainbow says, like, not for me, homie. The rainbow doesn't have to be, it can do that in love. It's okay to, if you're not respectful of your individual entity, if you're not able to care for emotionally your own spot, like, and it doesn't mean you don't need support externally, but if you're not in a place to assert and care for the needs of your own system, it'll be really challenging to do that for anyone else. One, because you won't have an awareness of the uniqueness of it, meaning you wouldn't trust them about what's right for them or where they are. You wouldn't respect their individual process, but you also would likely feel out of balance and do weird stuff. It seems the only place we can really act is act without creating more karma, which to me is kind of like energy that's imbalanced, is to act from the center in love and truth, which again can look like no. It can look like being mad. It can look like being sad. It can look like being broke. It can look like being rich. Like there is no target except for the place that is home, and that is being true to what you feel and think, even if you think you shouldn't feel or think it, even if, especially when. That's why I prefer comedies over drama. I get enough drama in real life. I need to laugh. It's the best medicine. Yeah, I mean, I think it's super important what we, ingest at an information level. It really does create the body, your being. So it's so easy to become normalized to certain stimulus and not recognize the impact that it has on you. If you're always somewhere that's, if it's loud where you are all the time, you don't really remember the benefit of silence. You don't really remember these things. Your being will try to nudge you towards them, and then ultimately it will snap you out of it, or you'll kind of cave into yourself. But and those are extreme. I'm speaking generally. As we know, I can't put stuff in words up here the whole way. So what I'm sort of saying is that with the normalization of information, you don't realize the impact it has on you. And if you're interacting with drama stuff, or you're interacting with the news, or you're interacting with media or television, that seeps in there. That creates a body and environment around you, your life body, and it likely doesn't serve you. And it's not because nobody needs to be bad or wrong for that to be true. It's just at an individual level, there's an unnaturalness to it. And again, there's such a complexity to all of the stuff, in that here's television. From this angle, it can be used to escape. From this angle, it can be used as an art form or a shared experience. It's the same thing. It's not really the thing. It's always, what is your relationship to it? And yet there are things that are of a higher nature than others. And so it's still, though, you still have the same choice, whether it's McDonald's or a 5-star or Michelin star restaurant, you still have the same choice, each, regardless of the level. How are you using it? Are you conscious? Are you consciously choosing it for something? Or are you using it to escape your experience? And if you're using it to escape your experience, or you think that you might be nice to you, man, don't be mean to you. That's what you're escaping from. You're escaping from the feeling of being beaten down and not enough. It's okay. However you're doing it is okay. Say it with me. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Because if that is you, if you want to go somewhere new, you start by saying okay to where you are with as much love and compassion as possible, because 1, the alternative doesn't work, and 2, that's what's true. That's what's true. That's the destination. That's where you're trying to go by establishing different circumstances, when the circumstance you want is just to feel this is okay. And the more that you do that, this central object, the thing that it's centered around, starts to move. And, it seems very effortless when you're not in there screwing around with things. Hey, Bo, hey. All right, well, I'm just wrapping up. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Thanks for coming out today.